Hey guys, Scout here, the Hopeless Wanderer. So today we are in my fabulous tin can. And you may be wondering why I am giving you a video from my humble abode. Well, the answer is because it's raining. And it has been raining for probably most of the last 3 or 4 days. And it's 45, 50 degrees. We got a little bit of snow the other day. So it's really kind of gross out. And I got no desire to be out in that. Plus, I'm back to work, so it's kind of, the grind to work and home. That's the extent of what I got going on right now. But on my last trip, where I brought my new bike Grace home from Colorado, I ran into a lot of challenging weather. And I had some people reach out and say, hey, why don't you give us a video and let us know your tips and tricks on riding in the rain, and maybe it'll help other people become more comfortable. So with that being said, the number one most important thing you can be concerned with riding in the rain is your tires. You want to make sure that you got good tires with good depth on them, good tread left on them. You want to make sure that they're properly inflated. Now your tread, the width of your tire that contacts the road, that's called your contact patch. And when you've got good tread going on in there, that tread channels water up off the road and it lets the rubber actually meet the road. So the deeper that channel is, the more water you can clear off the road and the better contact you have. Now, inflation also affects your contact patch, because if your tires are underinflated tires kind of cup. So the middle part of your tire actually doesn't make contact with the road. It's like running a U down the road. So you have two little thin strips. Obviously, that's reducing your contact, but also that affects how the water gets channeled away, so that those two little strips may not even be getting good contact with the road. If your tires are overinflated, it's vice versa. It's like a U the other way. Your tires are too hard and they don't get kind of that smush to where they get a good contact patch. It reduces it because the tire can't spread any. And again, that reduces what water can get into those channels and be shed away for your contact. You want to be aware of the surface that you're riding on. Concrete surfaces are slicker than asphalt surfaces, but also you want to be aware of, things that maybe when the road's dry you don't even think about. Railroad tracks, that slick metal, it's got no kind of traction on it for your tires. Manhole covers, painted surfaces on the road like crosswalks, or where they're marking a turn lane coming up or a turn only lane. You want to be wary of those big patches of paint on the road, because those can become very slick in the rain as well. You want to try to avoid any sudden movements on those. You want to try to avoid stopping or having to put your feet down on those, because they can be slick even for your feet. Tar snakes, you're going down the road, you may not even think about it on a dry day, but on a wet day you have to be aware of that. That tar is slick, and generally when it's raining it's cooler, so that tar is not sticky like it would be on a hot day. Now it's kind of hard and slick, and you want to be wary of putting your tires on those. Also, the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, whatever the experts say, of a rainstorm is when all that road grime starts to lift off. The oil, the brake fluid, the antifreeze, the grease, whatever, drips off the undercarriage of a car. That's when it starts to lift off the road, and it gives you that nice rainbow oil sheen on the road. That's going to impede your traction as well. So, be wary of that. If you can get off the road when it first starts raining, duck into a rest stop and get gas, pull into McDonald's, whatever, stop, check the radar, see what you're looking at. If it's going to be quick, let it blow through. And if it's not, give it that good half hour or whatever to kind of clear some of that grime off the road. trust me, you're going to appreciate that when you have to go to clean your bike, because that road grime gets everywhere. It gets on you, it gets on the bike, it gets everywhere. So do the best you can. You know, sometimes you can't. There's no place to get off the road and you just have to ride in it. But just be aware that your traction could be reduced because of that grime on the road. Puddles, make sure that you don't ride into puddles. You want to do your best to try to avoid them. You don't know what's under that puddle of water. It could be something slick, like you know, a sheet of steel that they've got covering the road. It could be a manhole cover. It could be a super deep pothole. And I know that some of you live in areas like me where potholes can be fatal for a car, let alone for a motorcycle. So just be aware that there could be a very deep pothole under there. There could be any kind of debris under there, something that could puncture your tire or cause you to lose control. So do your best to avoid puddles if at all possible. Not to mention that the more water there is, the harder your tire has to work. And if it can't shed all that water away, you may lose traction as well. So again, avoid the puddles. Stay relaxed. You know, I know that we've all probably been in those situations where our first response is we're going to hang on tighter and we're going to lock our elbows and we're going to, you know, just muscle our way through it. And you can't always do that, especially in the rain. You got to try to stay relaxed and let the suspension work for you. They'll take some of those wobbles in the road. That's what the suspension's supposed to do. If you're locked up tight on the bars, you're reducing what your bike can do for you to help you get through some of these situations. Try to stay relaxed, talk yourself through it, you know, sing a song, do what you got to do to kind of relax and get comfortable in the situation. Plus, when you're locked up tight, you're creating more stress and fatigue on your body. Riding in the rain is stressful enough and will give you enough fatigue in and of itself. So try not to add any extra onto that if you don't have to. Ride smoother and ride smarter. And I hope we're all out there riding smart. And I think, you know, at least with our group, we're doing pretty good with that. But, you know, give yourself more braking distance. You're not going to slow down as fast. You don't want to jam your brakes on when the road's wet, because that's just a good chance that you could lose traction and control and go into a slide. Give yourself smoother acceleration. You know, don't just jam on the throttle like you maybe normally would. Wind it out and get up to speed. Give yourself plenty of distance to get up to speed. Again, you don't want to twist the throttle hard and spin that back tire. Be mindful of your lean angles. You know, when it's wet, you want to keep as much rubber contacting the road as possible. When you lean, you reduce the contact patch, and that's reducing your traction. So try to keep your bike as upright as possible and do one thing at a time. You know, a lot of times we jam the accelerator, you know, we jam the throttle and we power shift up through, you know, the gears to get up to speed, maybe when we're entering the highway or whatever. Or vice versa, when we're slowing down, we may come into a turn and be downshifting and braking as we're going into a turn. And you want to kind of break that all up into one thing at a time. You know, accelerate, shift, accelerate, decelerate, downshift, lean into your turn. You know, you don't want to be downshifting in the middle of a turn on a wet road. So break everything up, do it one thing at a time. Be very mindful of the sequence that you do things. I always tend to put my hazards on, especially if it's raining really hard or I'm going under the speed limit, because we all know that cars don't see us anyway. So at least if you put a bright blinky warning sign in front of them, you know, hopefully they will see you before they run over you, and they will, you know, at least maybe have to slow down and be like, what is that up there? and they'll have enough time to avoid you without running right up on you.